Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and thanks to the Hellenic Association, the Technical Chamber, Mr. Stasinos and Kostas Andriosopoulos for inviting me here today. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to represent the United States at this conference. First of all, I just want to note that many of the themes that I would want to mention have already been mentioned by the first two speakers, Mr. Variopoulos and Mr. Karvounis. Certainly, energy is a very important sector in any economy. It's true for Greece. It's really true for all of Southeast Europe and for Europe in general. And I do think that we see Greece as very well placed to advance both its own future and Europe's future via wise choices on energy. Since the establishment of the European coal and steel community after the Second World War, the United States has strongly supported efforts to advance European energy security. International energy cooperation has not only advanced economic growth, it's really been one of the cornerstones of European political cohesion and stability. It's helped bridge geopolitical differences, and it's also fostered cooperation in other areas. Meanwhile, energy is a field that is itself driven by transformative developments in science and technology, yielding tangible benefits in terms of basic economic growth and political unity. It's very unusual in the realm of foreign policy, I have to say, because it's very practical. We've seen that governments can work together and with the private sector to develop practical, sometimes very technical solutions to political and economic challenges. It's not an easy task. It's not automatic. It's difficult. Achieving solutions that advance and sustain a Europe that is whole, free, and at peace requires steadfast commitment and support. We applaud the efforts of the European Union, especially through the objectives of the European Energy Union, to ensure a secure, stable, transparent, and integrated energy market, one with a diversity of energy fuel types, sources, and delivery routes. We firmly believe that such a common market in energy will improve regional security and sustainability while advancing economic prosperity. Tangible evidence of the U.S. commitment to European energy security can be seen in the Southern Gas Corridor, which will bring Azerbaijani gas to Europe. And this is new gas via a new route. And we've strongly supported this project. It's really a web of projects. And we've done so despite the fact that there's not any major U.S. company, private sector involvement in this project. At the EU level, the United States engagement also provides strong and consistent political and technical support for regional energy security, most notably in the U.S.-EU Energy Council, which Secretary of State Kerry, Secretary of Energy Moniz have co-hosted with their European Commission counterparts 6 times since 2009, and we're hopeful of reconvening that council very soon. In this context, I also note that the United States looks for new ways to partner with Europe in tackling global energy and climate challenges. Renewable energy technology and energy efficiency policies are contributing to Europe's energy security, while also creating new jobs and avenues for growth. And of course, renewable and energy efficiency programs are also key to reaching our post-Paris targets for reducing carbon emissions. Climate change is a threat that we cannot afford to ignore. So on this and other aspects of energy security, we need to work hard to guard against losing the gains that we've already made. It's just as important as advancing the most critical infrastructure projects is the need to reduce the attention paid to distracting projects. And by this I mean projects that can prevent movement on the most urgent priorities, or even worse, could block them altogether. It's no secret that a number of European countries continue to depend upon one dominant supplier for the majority or entirety of their gas imports. And across Europe, gas markets still suffer from insufficient diversity of supply and poor interconnectivity. These vulnerabilities, coupled with political pressures, undermine energy security and political cohesion across the entire region. They undercut the prospect of a truly integrated European energy market, impeding economic integration and maintaining divisions and mistrust. Now, improving European energy security certainly requires strategic investments in LNG infrastructure, including floating storage and regasification units, FSRUs, in key locations, including off the coast of Croatia and here off the coast of Greece. But also these interconnections need investments there, and projects like the Greece-Bulgaria interconnector, or IGB. If you have this kind of flexible setup, you can have gas arrive anywhere in Europe, and then it can be delivered to any customer in Europe. And we've been quite seized with this issue in the U.S., including at the highest levels of our government. We're working closely with the member states and with the European Commission, and we're advocating a project-based approach to energy security, supporting those projects that will bring real energy diversification. We applaud the work of the European Union and the energy community in narrowing down their long lists of projects of common interest and projects of energy community interest, narrowing those down to a manageable handful of the most critical projects. And it's now time to get those key projects funded and built. We all know that energy security is not free, and the EU can't provide complete funding for these projects. So states that want to see the benefits need to provide both political backing and also commit funding of their own. The southeastern European states have long been strong partners in these efforts, and I'm confident they'll continue to be as the European Energy Union continues to grow. I want to mention that this policy is not about trying to eliminate Russian gas from the European market. We recognize Russian gas can and should remain an important part of Europe's energy mix. It's really about supporting EU policies that ensure competition and transparency in energy markets, delivering energy as efficiently as possible to Europe's citizens. Just to mention a key success story in terms of this project-based approach, Lithuania's new LNG terminal shows what's possible when the U.S. and EU cooperate in such a way. This LNG terminal started as a U.S.-funded feasibility study years ago. Until last year, the Baltic region was one of those places termed an energy island. There was lack of competition, and the people there were paying prices above the European average. But Lithuania's new terminal has already allowed it to deliver some of the most drastic price reductions in Europe. Given the potential of new energy sources to unlock markets and unleash the power of competition, the United States is enthusiastic about what's happening here in Greece. In particular, we applaud the Greek government for its steadfast efforts to ensure the completion of the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, or TAP. It's a necessary and vital artery of the Southern Gas Corridor. And we're also committed to working alongside the Greek and Bulgarian governments to make the Greece-Bulgaria interconnector, IGB, a reality. It's systems like the Southern Corridor and interconnections like IGB taken together, they're really part of a way to establish and catalyze a network through which future gas sources can access Southeast Europe. Realization of these projects, projects like this, will advance will advance energy diversification in Europe and in this region. It's a region that's very much in need of it. One can also imagine that a network like this could be used to transport gas from other sources, other areas as well, whether it's via pipeline or LNG, and move those volumes into the Eastern Balkans via Greece. It could be used in conjunction with Greece's either with Greece's existing LNG terminal near Athens or a new floating LNG terminal in the North Aegean. With this infrastructure in place, Greece would be uniquely suited to receive shipments of gas from the major discoveries in the Eastern Mediterranean, from the United States, and from all over. And just within this region, looking beyond Greece and Bulgaria, I want to note one of the other important interconnector projects that could come to fruition is the Bulgaria-Serbia interconnector, because we look at Serbia, here's a country that has complete dependence on Russian gas for imports. And beyond that, it would help bring new gas sources into the Western Balkans more broadly. Now, in spite of the focus that we've seen on some of the beneficial projects, we still see, as I said, some projects that distract from the goal of diversification. And the United States has been very concerned about some of the mega project proposals that have emerged, like whether it's Turkish Stream or the Nord Stream 2 project, pipeline schemes that would simply redirect existing Russian gas supplies to the same customers. Now, Nord Stream 2 would be bad for Ukraine, but it would, because it would lose a lot of transit revenue. It would also be bad for Europe more broadly. It just, as I said, redirects, and possibly could increase the supply of Russian gas to Central and Southeastern Europe, and thereby crowd out the alternative supplies. And this would undermine the very diversification projects that the United States and the EU have advanced together. And Nord Stream 2 is really the most prominent example, most prominent current example of Russia's longstanding efforts to maintain its dominant position in the gas sectors of Europe, and through this dominance to maintain and extend political and economic influence. So to conclude, the United States remains dedicated to supporting European efforts to improve regional energy security. Strategic diversification of fuel types, supply source countries, and transit routes serves to strengthen not only energy security, but also broader European security. The United States also stands ready to assist the EU and its member states to build a fully operational, transparent, and competitive energy market throughout Europe.